Hey everybody, this is NQ Productions here and welcome to a brand new video. Now, as you can clearly tell, this is not an ordinary video. This is an update video. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about a lot of big updates, so I highly advise that you guys stick around to the very end to hear everything that I have to say in this video. Anyways, with all that said, it's time to take a look at some future updates coming to NQ Productions. The first thing that I want to talk about is actually something that's going to happen to me very soon. On September 13th of this year, I am officially going to be starting college, but more specifically, I am going to be starting animation college. That's right, you guys. Not only will I be doing animations for YouTube, but I'll also be doing animations for college. I'm really excited to get animation college started. I am so excited. Now, since I'm starting college soon, that means that I won't be uploading as much soon. But I'll try to upload as much content as I can while I'm in college. Besides, I don't even upload that much. I upload on average once every week or two. So I'm hoping that the difference in the amount of uploads won't be that drastic. So yeah, that's the first update. I'm going to college. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about might disappoint a lot of you guys. But after I explain everything, I think you guys will understand why I decided to do this. And that has to do with the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake is an animated project that I've been working on since the start of the year, and, as the name implies, is an animated remake of the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll song/scene from the 1987 movie The Chipmunk Adventure. This animation was supposed to be my big Alvin and the Chipmunks animation for 2021, and for the first few months, progress was going really well on this animation. Everything was going pretty smoothly and things are happening really fast, and I thought I was guaranteed to get this animation out for the end of 2021. However, after I released the first video teaser back in April of this year, things started to go downhill real fast. I kept on having to go back and redo or fix older scenes, PowerPoint had constant exporting issues, and I became extremely frustrated with the animation. I was not having fun animating this thing anymore. And to make things even worse, since this animation was based off a copyrighted song, that means that the video would not be monetized, meaning that I wouldn't be able to make any money off of the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake. So because of all of those reasons, I decided to make the extremely tough choice and cancel the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake animation and put the video to rest. Now, does that mean that I'm going to completely erase this animation from history and remove everything related to the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake off of my channel? Absolutely not. Every single teaser that I ever did of the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake will still be up on the channel for you guys to check out, and all of the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake files that I created are all saved on a USB that I have back at my home. So don't worry guys, even though the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll animation is for sure dead, at least the files are safe and sound. Oh, and there's one more thing I want to mention. After I canceled the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake, I felt like a huge weight was lifted off my back, and I both mentally and physically felt way much better. So I definitely did make the right choice in canceling the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake. So now that the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake is canceled, what are going to be the next animations coming to NQ Productions? Well, that is what our next update is all about. Now, every time I make one of these update videos, whenever I talk about future animations, I mention that there's only going to be like 2 or 3 animations coming soon, when in reality, like 4 or 6 actually end up happening. So even though I'm not going to say every single animation that I plan to make within the next year or 2 in this video, the animations that I'm going to mention in this video are happening for sure. The first animation on our list is called Picture Time with the Chipmunks and the Chipettes. The plot for this animation is pretty straightforward. Alvin, Simon, Theodore, Brittany, Jeanette, and Eleanor do a whole bunch of facial expressions and fun character poses in front of a camera. I actually got the idea to do this animation from a game mode in Mario Party 10 called Photo Studio, where the exact same thing happens. Mario and his friends do a whole bunch of facial expressions and fun character poses in front of a camera. This animation is planned to come out towards the end of the year, so expect to see picture time with the Chipmunks and the Chipettes very soon. Now, the next animation on our list is my next Five Nights at Freddy's animation, and I'm really looking forward to getting this one started. It's called The Bite of 83, 30 Years Later. This animation, as the name implies, takes place 30 years after the events of the Bite of 83 animation, and focuses on the 4 bully characters, Michael Afton, Joseph Wood, Mike Schmidt, and Patrick Burton. The Bite of 83 30 Years Later animation would focus on how the 4 boys' lives have been within the last 30 years after the infamous bite. And since I don't want to spoil what happens in the Bite of 83 30 Years Later animation, I'll say what happens to the 4 boys in a short summary. That way, you guys will know the general story of the 4 boys, but all the details of their stories will still remain hidden. So, in a nutshell, Patrick becomes a mechanic, Mike Schmidt becomes a science teacher at a famous school in Los Angeles, Joseph becomes a professional NHL player, and we all know what happens to Michael Afton. Now, the Bite of 83 30 Years Later animation is scheduled to come out in 2022, but take that release date with a grain of salt because I don't exactly have the best track record when it comes to release dates, so like I said, take this release date with a grain of salt, but right now, the scheduled release date is 2022. I'm super excited to get the Bite of 83 30 Years Later animation started. It's probably going to be my favorite animation when it's all said and done. And now we've come to the last animation on the list, and this one actually has a pretty interesting story as to how this animation got on the list. It all started with a community post from not too long ago where I did a drawing of Simon being annoyed that Alvin had stolen his glasses without him knowing. Now in the comments of that community post there was a comment from Mina's Paramount Disney DreamWorks Pixar Sony fan 300, long username by the way, where they said the following: "The Alvin and the Chipmunks movies were my childhood. Hey, I didn't know you also did Five Nights at Freddy's animations too, so why not do a crossover? The Chipmunks Night at Freddy's, XD. And then I thought, why the heck not? I'll do an Alvin and the Chipmunks and Five Nights at Freddy's crossover animation. So that is how the Chipmunks Night at Freddy's ended up being on the future animations list. So, in the future, you guys are going to see an animation of Alvin, Simon, and Theodore working the night shift at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Will they be able to survive the night? I guess I'll have to find out when that animation comes out in the future. Alright guys, it's time for the final update of this video. Now, at the beginning of the video, I told you guys that I was going to animation college, and obviously, I'm not going to be animating in Microsoft PowerPoint in college. Yes, I've been animating in Microsoft PowerPoint for many years now, but PowerPoint is not an animation software. It's mainly used for slideshows and presentations. But you know what is an animation software? Toon Boom Harmony. That's right, you guys, it's a passing of the torch. Toon Boom Harmony will soon become my primary animation software. Now, that doesn't mean I'm completely abandoning PowerPoint. It's done so much for me that I could never throw it away, so I'll keep on using PowerPoint every now and then, but sooner or later, Toon Boom Harmony is going to be my main animation software. So there you go guys, those are all of the future updates coming to NQ Productions. So what have we talked about in this video? Well, let's do a short recap. I'm starting at animation college, I canceled the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll remake, there are 3 guaranteed animations coming soon, and I'm going to be switching to Toon Boom Harmony as my primary animation software very soon. So as you can see, lots of big stuff. Now before we end this video, if you guys did enjoy this update video, then make sure to leave a like. And if you guys do want to see more animations and other cool videos from me, then don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. It's free and it really supports the channel. You guys can also check me out on social media via my Twitter and Discord, which are both linked in the description. And with all of that said, I'll see you guys in the next video, and have a good one.